In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the control arm on your Jeep Grand Cherokee located on the front lower portion of your suspension. Using your 19mm socket, loosen and remove the lug nuts. Once you have the lug nuts removed, grab the wheel, remove it, and set it aside. Now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and loosen and remove the forward bolt here as well as the rear one here into the body or the chassis of the vehicle. When we do this here, sometimes this front axle wants to rotate forward just a little bit, and it makes it complicated for us to go ahead and get the bolts installed. So what we're going to do, just as precautionary, we're going to use a securing strap. We're going to feed this through, anchor this, and then we're going to run this back and we're going to secure this to a section in the frame here. So that way there, when we unbolt it, the strap itself should secure this axle in place, making it a little bit easier for us to reinstall. On our front bolt, it's a 21mm bolt head and 21mm socket. I'm just going to toss the wrench on there for now. It's just let it hang there in case that starts to move. And we're going to use a 21mm socket on our breaker bar here, and let's go ahead and loosen this. I'm going to switch over to my ratchet here and we'll remove that nut. Now, it's always beneficial to go ahead and use some rust penetrant on these bolts. If you know you're going to be doing this job next weekend, go ahead and start spraying everything down prior to doing this. It will definitely help out, especially if you're in the salt belt area like we are. Leave the bolt in, remove the nut, and go ahead and set that aside. We're going to remove our back bolt here, 21mm socket, and same over here, 21mm wrench. I'm just going to set the wrench on that and break this free over here. I'm going to switch over to my ratchet and then we'll remove the nut on this bolt. Remove that nut and set it aside. Now we're going to go ahead and tap out this front bolt. Now be careful when you remove this bolt here that this control arm doesn't swing down and bonk you in the head. But our bolt is a little corroded in there, so we're just trying to unscrew this out here or unthread it. Let's tap out the rearward bolt. This one should be a little bit easier. Pop that out. I'm going to use a small pry bar on the front section here and just try and work this control arm out. There you go. Now, if this pulled out, you want to pay attention to two different things. The forward bushing is the oval bushing. On the inside has the holes here, and it has a particular curve to it. So oval up front, holes inboard. Feed our control up into position, and we're going to get our rear bolt in. Now, we did go ahead and clean our bolt on a wire wheel machine. You can use a wire brush, clean the threads, put some anti-seize on those threads, and get that bolt in. I'm going to swing this up. So our hole didn't quite line up because our ratchet strap, but obviously that is adjustable. So we can go ahead and tweak this a little bit. Let's go ahead and get our bolt in. We did the same thing. We did the wire brush. And we'll put some anti-seize on there. Go ahead and tap our bolt in. Now that we have the bolts in, we can go ahead and install the nuts on both of these bolts. And because we have both bolts in, we can remove our securing strap. In our particular case, we didn't really need it, but it's always a good precautionary to make sure that we can get everything lined up. Now we just want to get that bolt not fully bottomed out. We want to make sure that you can actually spin this a little bit. The reason for that is we don't want to tighten these in this position yet. To get it pretty close to being bottomed out. Okay. Before we tighten this here, we're going to put our jack underneath our suspension and we're going to compress the suspension. We want to have this at what we call the neutral riding height, which would be the position where as if you were on the ground on all four wheels and the weight of the vehicle has compressed our suspension. Now doing this here, you can have the wheel on or off. It's easier to get to this bolt with the wheel off. So we're gonna go ahead and jack this up now. So our neutral ride height is going to be when we jack this up and it just starts to come off of our lift. In your case here, it would be jacking it up till it starts to just to come off of your jack stand. Our front bolt, we're going to torque it to 120 foot-pounds. The back bolt, we're going to torque to 115 foot-pounds. We're going to remove our jack. Now, if you're going to be doing the other side, you're going to repeat the process. Once you're done installing the control arms, you can go ahead and install your wheels and you're all set. Take your wheel, bring it up, set it into place. And we're going to start all of our lug nuts by hand first. Once we have all the lug nuts on, let's go ahead and snug them down. Torque the lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.